What's up, Australians? Welcome back to episode 2 of Fixing the World, where we tackle hidden injustices that affect real lives. In today's video, we'll be discussing how immigration within our own country is hiding something truly despicable. Stay tuned! Have you ever wondered what it feels like to chase a dream only to be met with closed doors upon your arrival? Imagine traveling thousands of kilometers to a new country, fueled by hope and desire for a better new life, only to be faced with a tragically different reality. Our government, despite allowing for relatively more integration with a 36% increase from 2022 to 2023, the continued implementation of strict detention policies, offshore detention centers, and ongoing integration challenges has significantly impacted immigrants. These intense measures harm well-being, violates human rights, and strains our economy. And it's time we talk about what we can do to fix it. Let's begin by confronting the harsh truth at the forefront. Australia's image as a multicultural haven hides the grim reality inside its immigration detention centers, where despair isn't just a present, it is engineered into the system, built into the walls by policy. A 2019 report by the Jesuits Social Services reveals the true depths of this failure. It peels back the curtains to unveil how current policies often lead to arbitrary or potentially indefinite detention. This means individuals can be held in detention for decades, often at a whim, with no clear time limit imposed. Such uncertainties not only inflict hardship on the average immigrant, but also causes greater harm to the most vulnerable. Those with serious health conditions, pregnant women, and trauma survivors are disproportionately distressed, deeply disadvantaged by these daunting dilemmas. These centers function as psychological prisons, stripping away dignity and mental health. Here, hope is but a flickering light, dimmering each day. The air is thick with despair, the walls echo with hopelessness, and a heavy sense of abandonment pervades. The eyes of the detained reflect their suffering, their voices reveal their pain, and we almost emphasize with how abandoned they feel. Change is not just recommended, it is an urgent need. Australia's current immigration policy reflects a contradiction, one that praises diversity yet punishes those who seek it. Is this really the legacy we want for Australia? Have you ever stopped to think about how bad the conditions are in Australia's offshore detention centres? Have you ever even heard of these centres, let alone imagine what life inside is like? Picture this, families with young children confined in rows of tents with poor ventilation, rampant mould, and utter lack of privacy. It sounds like a nice holiday, doesn't it? This form of processing has long drawn criticism for the inhumanity, but few descriptions capture the cruelty more powerfully than that of the Royal Australasian College of Physicists. In 2006, they compare the conditions of the Nauru Regional Processing Centre to a high security prison, but not for the reasons you might think. They state that the environment is fundamentally unsuitable and degrading for a human. This degradation is not just symbolic, it's literal. With inadequate access to Medicare, poor sanitation, and a mental toll of prolonged isolation, these centres strip detainees of their dignity. This mistreatment exposes the contradiction between Australia's international human rights policy and its on-the-ground practices. Just as the storm exposes the vulnerabilities of a ship at sea, the harsh conditions in Australia's offshore processing centres reveal deep cracks in our national approach to immigration. These conditions cannot just be seen as neglect. They are the result of deliberate policy changes, like the Immigration Reform Act in 1992, which introduced mandatory detention for all unlawful non-citizens and removed judicial oversights, prioritizing deterrence over human dignity, making what was supposed to be a temporary measure the brutal new normal. Imagine if someone in your own family was forced to live in these centers. How would you feel? Terrible! There is no world where we'll feel any kind of content with these centers around. But because they're not our mum and dad, it's perfectly fine. The call for action is loud and clear, and the need for change is more pressing than ever before. Is this the future we want, where we neglect our own policies? Finally, let's address unemployment, discrimination, and language barriers that challenge immigrants daily. In Australia, people from non-English backgrounds face a range of significant challenges. Research from Edith Cowan University highlights unemployment as the most pressing issue, with labour market data showing that over 7.8% of immigrants are unemployed, nearly double that of Australian-born individuals at just 4.2%. I will always remember one horrible experience at my first job. While my manager and I were present, a woman approached us, expressing her desire for employment. She had a thick accent, and while she was leaving, the manager muttered under her breath, "I don't want to deal with that," and cautiously tossed her resume into the bin. Seeing this disgusting mentality firsthand really opened my eyes to how common this kind of discrimination is in the workplace. This is not just one manager, but it reflects a broader bias many immigrants face. It's just wrong and we need to stop it. Is this the future we want for those who have immigrated? Australia is at a crossroads. Will we continue down a pathway of exclusion or return to the values of inclusion and humanity we have claimed to uphold? From inhumane detention centers and offshore processing centers to daily discrimination immigrants endure, these realities show how far we've strayed from our values of multiculturalism and inclusion. This is not just an issue of policy, but a moral crisis that affects all of us. We must ask ourselves, is this the future we envision for Australia? Or will we strive for a country that upholds dignity and potential for every individual? If this is the future we want, then now it's time for all Australians to take a stand. We must demand reforms that not only rectify these wrongs, but also reinforces our commitment to fairness, diversity, and human rights. Let's take meaningful action to build an immigration system that reflects our values and welcomes newcomers with the dignity and opportunities they deserve. Raise your voice, engage in dialogue, advocate for change. Together we can reshape our policies and our attitudes to ensure Australia remains a place of hope and a leader in compassionate governance. Are you ready to be part of this change? The moment is now. Let's not just envision a better future, but let's actively create it.